What is up, my good people of the internet? Dan Tortora here, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. I hope you're having yourselves a great morning this morning, and I am always happy to be hanging out with you here as we talked about on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So, good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy Friday. So, we are in our third Friday of Lent already. It feels like Easter is just cruising on by, folks. You got to enjoy your time, got to enjoy your moments with those that you love, folks. You know, if I've realized anything about life, it's that we have to, as you see my, breakfast here in the morning, got to eat in the studio. But, when we look at just how quickly some things flow by, it's important to make sure that we spend our time giving the best that we can to every second that we have, because you never know how quickly something can change, how quickly, life just does what life does. So I hope you're having a great morning, and I hope you're making the most of your time. And I appreciate you so much for making time today to be with us on Facebook.com/wakeupcalldt and on YouTube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. However you're listening around the country and the world, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is with you between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Monday through Friday. So we appreciate you being here, hanging out with us where sports meets life. We got an awesome show set up for you today, and I cannot wait on what we have. Week proudly presented by the fantastic team at Carvel, DeWitt. The annoying moment of the week coming to you in just a moment, and then we'll jump into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Adlib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A, Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay. The top dog of the week will come to you at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and right before that, we're actually going to change things up a little bit here today. At 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time, I will be joined picture-in-picture live by the head coach of the Liverpool Warriors girls basketball team, following back-to-back Section 3 Class AAA titles, and as he helps his team move on to states for the second year in a row. That is Mr. Mike Wheeler will be joining me here on the broadcast around 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Then we'll jump into the top dog of the week around 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and from there we will go to the MAC conversation, as we're going to flip things a little bit here this morning. And we're going to, because Katie Kolinski was going to join us at 10 o'clock. She's actually going to join us a little bit later here at 11 o'clock today. So we're going to stay with you a little bit longer on today's broadcast, A Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So we're going to go to MAC Commissioner, the Mid-American Conference Commissioner. Inside of this edition of Commissioner Corner, we'll be speaking with Dr. John Steichbrecher of the MAC, following the announcement that they will be bringing in UMass as a full member, not just a football member because UMass was independent, but bringing in UMass as a full member. And the Mid-American Conference has been the one that has not had anybody go out, not had anybody come in. They've been very, very contained of just working it. They were the most concrete conference, and I've spoken with him about this before, is they just kind of locked in and said, this is us. And especially in football, where so many things have been changing, the MAC had 12. And they didn't have anybody go out. They didn't have anybody come in. It's like, these are our 12. This is who we're rolling with. Well, now that they're bringing in UMass, now we will look at the future of the Mid-American Conference, a.k.a. the MAC, and what the MACtion is going to look like moving forward, and why UMass was the right fit for the conference. So a bunch of great stuff coming up at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time with Dr. John Steichbrecher. And then from there, we are going to get into my conversation with Miss Katie Kolinski, who will be joining us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, from LeMoyne College, women's basketball assistant coach in her first season as an assistant for LeMoyne, and LeMoyne stepping into their first Division I postseason and first NEC tournament, and that is all happening on campus this Monday, March 11th at 7 p.m., when the LeMoyne College Dolphins will get to host the first ever Division I postseason game that they've been in, because they are the number 2 seed in the conference, which is incredible. So very much looking forward to that conversation with Katie to round out today's show as we stay with you a little bit longer. And with that being said, let's hop into the annoying moment of the week with plenty of show here for you.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel, DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so. The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by the fantastic team at right here with us at Carvel DeWitt in our community. Carvel DeWitt, such a tremendous, tremendous place, and we appreciate them so very much. Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It is what happy tastes like, and it is time for the annoying moment of the week. I have two of them, and they were both, from conversations that I had with other people that shared these wonderful, wonderful things with me. So, I have two annoying moments of the week. Let's get into the first one. My first annoying moment of the week comes from a conversation that I had in a cafe not too long ago, just a couple days ago. And this conversation in the cafe featured me, and good morning to Alan here, featured me having the opportunity to speak with a woman who, well, she was kind of talking to all of us, and she turned around and said that she has an ex, right, as many of us do, and she said that she's got a dog and she has an ex, and so the ex came over, and the ex was, I guess, spending some time there for a few minutes, and the dog bit him. And so she was telling us this story, and she was like, yeah, my ex came over, my dog bit him, but I never asked my dog to bite my ex. I never trained my dog to bite my ex. The dog just kind of knew, which brought about some thoughts that I had that, Lily, Lily is an absolute sweetheart. Lily doesn't hurt anybody. Lily's a very good girl. And yet, when I've dated a couple people over, a span of the last few years, there was a couple people that I dated that Lily was just not having it by any stretch of the imagination. And she tried to, I guess, she tried to bite, or did bite, two of them and growled at another one. And I remember one of the girls came in and she goes, well, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about the fact that your dog just threatened to bite me or just bit me or nipped or whatever? What are you going to do? And I was laying in bed, and this person was being really mean, and they were yelling at me, and they came into my room, and I'm laying in bed with Lily, and they said, what are you going to do about it? And I looked at Lily and I pet her and I said, good dog. So, not that dogs should bite. Dogs should never bite. I'm not saying that. So I shouldn't say dogs should never bite. If they're protecting their owner from somebody trying to hurt them, then I can understand it. But the reality of it all is dogs know spirits. Dogs know energy. And, Lily doesn't bother anybody. So the fact that she growled at both of these girls and then nipped at one of them or nipped at both of them, they both ended up being not great people. I don't want to say not great people to date. They ended up not being great people to date. Because they could be great for somebody else, just not for me. And so when this girl said that, I was like, wow, that's an annoying moment of the week. Not for you, for your ex, of course. But, she's like, yeah, he came in and my dog just bit him. And I didn't train my dog to do it. It's not like she showed the dog pictures and said, hey, when this guy comes in the house, do what you need to do. But apparently the dog was like, you're an ex now. Now I can tell you how I really feel. The other annoying moment of the week that I have to share with you comes from a conversation I had with my dad. Now, I've heard of strange things happening in schools. And I question if we're learning anything in school these days. Because I just keep hearing just weird things. Just really weird things that happen. And probably the strangest thing that ever happened in a school, in my opinion, like the weirdest news that I've gotten that just makes you stop, is that my dad was talking to me this week, and my dad said to me that there was a school in America where they were trying to raise money. So instead of having a kissing booth, or, I mean, I don't know, whatever, a dunk tank, or, you know, I mean, there's a bunch of things that they, you know, that you used to do in school. You used to have the kissing booth, you had the dunk tank, you had the, I mean, those seem to be like the normal things, right? And here we go with, and I mean, this is a hard thing that, there was a school that decided to do a fundraiser where children in the school had to lick each other's feet for money. I want you to let that sink in for a second, because I feel like the person that did this or came up with this genius idea, and by genius I'm being very sarcastic, is that they said, well, you know, we can't have our children kissing. Kissing is sexual. And we don't want to do that to our kids. So you had them lick each other's feet, which is like, that's like, there's some special websites for that. And that's outrageously disturbing. Outrageously disturbing. I mean, if I had a kid right now, and let's say the kid's like 8, and they come home and they say, Dad, guess what I got? I raised $15 today. I mean, raised $15 today. Yeah, it was $1 per lick. $1 per lick? Lick what? Be like, oh yeah, I licked the toes of my classmates today. 15 of them, and I made $15 for the school. I would be in there, in the principal's face, being like, you got some sick fetish, and you need to quit now. You need to get out. So, I mean, I don't understand what is happening. Licking toes, feet. This is disturbing. It's very disturbing. It's the annoying moment, but it's the disturbing moment. It's the borderline, let's have these people investigated moment. It's the who's got a weird fetish standing in the corner watching this happen moment. It's the take your children out of that school moment. I mean, what are we doing with kids right now? What are we doing with children right now? They're children. It's, I didn't know. My parents worked to protect my innocence as long as they could. And this is just outrageous. It's outrageous. It's gross. It's absolutely gross. I don't even want to look it up on my computer because I feel like children lick feet is going to get everybody arrested. But this is gross. It was in an Oklahoma school. Video of students licking feet at fundraising event causes controversy. I mean, this is so, okay. So the school district says the event was to raise money and students volunteered for it. It was at Deer Creek High School where students were licking toes at a fundraiser event. I think it was last Thursday. Their faces were blurred to hide their identity. Wow, if it was a normal fundraiser, why would we be blurring faces? Deer Creek High School student said, quote, it was surprising. I didn't think they were going to do all that. I was just shocked. I didn't really have like a feeling. I was kind of disgusted and then kind of glad I wasn't over there, end quote. At least one parent thought they shouldn't have allowed it. Oh my, at least one parent? It should be every parent. This is what an anonymous parent said. Quote, whenever she told me yesterday that was happening, I had to ask her, wait, what? They're licking peanut butter off of toes? What? End quote. The Deer Creek School District confirmed the video, saying that the students volunteered. So now they're blaming the students. Quote, I am all for fundraising and all for really fun and silly things, but that right there just seems a little excessive, end quote, the anonymous parent had said. The Deer Creek School District in Oklahoma says every student who participated, quote, signed up for the games they played ahead of time, end quote, and that, quote, no faculty or staff were involved during the assembly, end quote. And the event helped raise more than $152,000. A parent added, who's anonymous here, quote, it's really great that they raised a lot of money. I feel like maybe they could have done a little bit more accountability and ownership in that statement for, hey, you know, maybe we didn't fully think this thing through here, end quote. So I love how the school district's going, yeah, but the kids signed up for it. The kids were like, this is great. It's the kids' fault. Who put the idea out there? Did the kids walk into the room and say, you know what I'd love to do, teacher? I'd love to lick some toes today. Why don't you put some peanut butter on it? That's a sexual act. Like, to me, that's borderline child abuse. I mean, like, that's some stuff. I mean, and I can't even with these videos right now. I can't with the, like, it's making me, I don't have children of my own, and I'm icky right now. Like, I have nieces and nephews, and like, I don't know what we're doing in society right now. I really don't, in America. I don't understand it. And the fact that we're defending it. We're like, no, it's okay. The kids said that they wanted to do it. The kids said that they wanted to do it. Well, it's not it had to be your idea. It had to be the school's idea. Did the child come? Well, they signed up for it. So that if they signed up for it, it means it was on a sheet. So who made the sheet? Who made the activities? What sick human being or beings need to be sent away from this school right now? I never wish anybody to lose their job, and I'm not going to say the word fired because I don't believe that, you know, I don't wish bad on somebody else. I will say that you should resign. I will say that. I believe you should. Like, I'm trying to hold myself back here this morning because this is insane. And anybody who would defend this is insane. Well, they signed up for it. Well, who made the sheet? Who made this idea a thing? Somebody came up with this idea because somebody had to bring peanut butter to the school. Was it an 8-year-old bringing peanut butter to the school? Who was bringing peanut butter to the school? They had to provide the peanut butter, and they had to provide the chairs so that you could walk up there as a child and lick somebody's foot. This is revolting. By the way, wasn't COVID a thing? Remember how we had to put masks on? Remember how we couldn't be within 6 feet of each other? Remember how we weren't allowed to leave our house, go to church, go to the coffee shop, but we could go to all big box stores? You remember that? So we went from wearing masks and standing 6 feet apart because of COVID to licking toes because the kids said they wanted to do it. The American school system has lost its mind. And to those of you who haven't lost your mind in the American school system, please stand tall and be tough. Stay faithful, stay strong, and God be with you, because I am absolutely sickened by this nonsense. It's beyond recognizable. If this happened in the schools that I went to, my parents would have been in there. My dad would have been in there with the police department. So, you know, I can't even imagine going home and being like, Mom, Dad, they told me I had to lick people's toes today. So a bunch of people came in here, and whose are you licking? Like, what is happening? First of all, toes are gross. Okay, like I take showers and I cut my nails. I think I have nice feet, but your feet are your feet. I mean, the children shouldn't be licking anything off of anything. They're children. This is insane. You know, I mean, people have gotten mad for things that have happened to children that have been physically abusive. If you don't think this is one of them, then you're out of your mind. So look it up, folks. This happened, and I'm absolutely just completely disgusted. This school district owes the world an apology. This school district owes these children, going to have to pay for all of them to go see therapists, and these parents need to take these kids out of this school. This district does not need to exist if it's going to do things like this. And to turn around and say in a statement, well, the kids said that they wanted to. Like that to me is like, you're not even taking accountability for this disgusting. But why would you take accountability? Because whoever works at your school that decided this was okay is not an accountable person in the first place. This is absolutely outrageous, and somebody needs to deal with it, and they need to deal with it swiftly. This is not a laugh it off type of thing. This is I bring the police department in, we investigate you, and we find out what creeps live in your school, and then we get rid of those creeps from the school. Probably in a jail cell. So, I mean, wow. Wow. Just wow. What am I supposed to say? I've had a lot of annoying moments of the week. It's the longest standing segment that we've ever had on the show. It's, 11 years, 12 years old? And I never, ever, ever in my life thought that I would tell this story. And I hope to God there's no other examples. I really, really do. Ew. Just ew. Very much ew. Just ew. Another annoying moment of the week is I don't know what these bugs are. There's these tiny little black bugs. They're not ants because they have I think longer feelers on the end, but they are little tiny bugs. And it's been cold outside, but the sun's been out. And normally when the weather shifts, I'll get ants in the house, and then I have to, put all those traps, and then they disappear eventually, thank God. But these other things, they're not ants. They're these little tiny things. And I've seen them in my house. They've been showing up a little bit in the house. And one of them was on me, one was on my phone, and I was and you know how we are as human beings, that if one bug touches our skin, we feel that bug touching our skin all the time. We go into the room where the bug was, we think that there's a bug touching our skin. We wake up in the morning, we think there's a bug touching our skin, right? It's and this really shows you mind over matter, folks, that if you believe something's happening, your body will actually believe your brain. So if you think I think there's a bug on me, then your body is oh my gosh, get the bug off of me. And your brain's I just made that up. And your body's I don't care. I got the thought now. So make sure that you are practicing positive mindset, because mind over matter, baby. But yeah, I mean, I felt it on me, and now it's days later, and I was touching my head in the studio. I was like, did it follow me here? So by the way, we look like lunatics when there's a bee that nobody else sees, but you saw it. Or when there's the fly. I now know the difference between the zzz and the zzz, because there's the fly and there's the bee. Flies are annoying sometimes. They're just annoying, but they don't have stingers, right? And they can't hurt you. Allegedly, I found this out, okay? Now, I found this out years ago. I was a kid. I don't know if this is 100% all the time true, but they said that everything that a fly lands on, it throws up. And I was like, wow, so it's like a college student on spring break. But not me. I've never been drunk. Very proud of that. But there were so many places I could have taken that. But they say that whenever a fly lands on something, it throws up. Just picture that for it. Now your whole life is different because now you're thinking about all the times that you ate outside and a fly landed on your food and you're like, Shoe fly don't bother me. You know what I mean? And so the fly just landed, and you're like, whatever. It just landed for a second. You brush it off, but now you have to picture that when it landed on that breadstick, the fly was like, "Hey, how's your Saturday going?" Blah. So, but that makes life different, does it not? So, oh man, that fly. What if that is? I mean, is that true? Is that a true statement? Do flies throw up on everything that they land on? What does that mean? Does that mean that the fly gets queasy when it flies? Like, why would a fly always be nauseous? That's insane. But allegedly, it's true that's what flies do. You're thinking about everything now. The thousands of meals that you've eaten. Fly lands on your steak, and he's like, "Hey, Phil." Looking right at you with him like 9. Bleh. So, you know what I mean? How's your Saturday going, Jill? But gross. It's gross. It's absolutely gross. Flies are also constantly over dead bodies, so I guess that would make them a little nauseous, apparently. But when there's a fly or there's a bee or there's a mosquito and nobody else sees it, we look like whack jobs. And we don't talk about that enough, how absolutely insane we look when we're like, I've been on the show before, and I think I've done this. I'm like, "Hey, everybody, welcome back to Wake Up Call on wakeupcalldt.com," and you're like going like that. But I mean, you think about people walking in the street, right? They just kind of walking, going about their lives. Nothing's going on. They're looking around. They're talking to their friends, and all of a sudden they're like, they trip, and they lose it. We don't talk about that enough. That we are supposed to be the superior race. However, when a flying thing comes toward us, we lose our minds. And we're like 100 times the size of this thing. But the moment, and that's why I think that flies and mosquitoes and beetles and stink bugs and bees, they all have this conversation with their friends. They're like, yo. I bet you that you won't fly into that person's face right now. If you do, you get more honey today. And that bee, let's call that bee Steve. And Steve was like, "Yo, John, I bet you won't do this." And the bee's like, "Watch me." You know what I mean? I feel like they do this on purpose. I feel like they're scheming. They're like, "Hey, look at that. Look at that big old man. Look at that big old man. Guess what? I'm going to make him lose his mind today for like 10 seconds. And I do. I think that insects I think they enjoy annoying human beings. I think that it makes them happy. Like, I'm sure there's some nice insects out there, but when you go outside now, like if you, okay, I'm 38 years old. So I've been around the sun a few times, and I'm just like, I expect it now. I expect to walk out from my front door to my car, just a few steps. And I expect for a fly or a bee to be like, just for a minute. And you go to the front door and there's a mosquito. And by the way, why are these mosquitoes massive? Why is New York State the home of the mutated giant Hulk mosquito? These mosquitoes, they're like this when they stretch their legs out. It's gross. And they say, "Dan, what's the first question you're going to ask God when you go to heaven? God willing, I will be in heaven. What is the first question you're going to ask God?" You know what I said? "Why did you make mosquitoes?" I want to know. I don't think they have any purpose except for sucking blood, making you itch, and spreading disease. They're food for spiders. So I guess that's good. Spiders can eat other things, though. Do we really need mosquitoes? What are they doing? Like, people don't like bees, but bees spread pollen, and bees make honey, and honey is awesome. Stay tuned for how awesome it is. But why are mosquitoes? Why do they exist? Why do mosquitoes exist? That's my question to God. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. This has been the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel, DeWitt. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. It's time to jump into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. And today's topic, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, words and actions. Words and actions. If they're not going together, folks, then it's not the right thing. Words and actions must coincide with each other. If they don't, then what are we doing? You know, and we talk to a lot of coaches here on the broadcast. We talk to a lot of student athletes and professional athletes. And it comes up, you know, when you say, hey, coach, I'm going to be on time, they want to see that action. Word, action. Hey, coach, I learned the playbook. Okay, word, action. Hey, coach, I figured out what I did wrong. I'm going to adjust that. I'm going to rebound better. I'm going to do the things I need to do. Word, action. Your words and your actions must meet together. And there's a team here in Central and upstate New York whose words met their actions. And that is the Liverpool Warriors girls basketball team. Once again, Section 3, Class AAA, champions, back-to-back champions under Mike Wheeler. This man, wherever he goes, winning follows him. And I genuinely love the fact, and I think back on it fondly many, many days over these last couple of years of Mike giving me a call. I still know where I was. I was right on 57 driving by Avicoli's, ironically. How ironic was that in the world that I'm driving by Avicoli's and now that's where we do the show together because that's our home for Liverpool athletics broadcasts. And I'm driving by Avicoli's and I get a phone call from Mr. Wheeler. And he says to me, "Hey, Danny, I want you to know before everybody else, because you've been good to me and because we built a relationship, I'm stepping away from coaching." And I remember saying to myself, yeah, okay. And my words to Mike were, "See you in 12 minutes. And about 11 minutes and 47 seconds later, he said, I think I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to Liverpool and I'm going to help out." And I said, "All right, Mike." And the varsity job wasn't open at the time. So he went and he helped out with JV. And then he said to me, "Hey, Danny, I just want you to know I'm going to take the varsity job." And I was like, "Mike, the lottery has nothing on me when it comes to predicting the stuff that Mr. Wheeler's going to do." And the reason why I give this long intro is because we're spoiled. We were spoiled to have Mike Wheeler at OCC for women's basketball, getting ranked in the top 3 in the country, vying for the opportunity at championships, be it in conference, be it in the region, be it in the national tournament, in the NJCAA. He was doing so many incredible things there. And now at Liverpool, back-to-back Section 3 Class AAA champions, going back to states again and having an opportunity to win it. So, Mike, I know it's a long intro. I know you're a humble guy, but you deserve all of the words that were said. And I had already made it in my head that when you told me you were stepping away, I was like, I'll get him back if he doesn't come back himself.
Well, Danny, thank you for the long introduction and the nice, kind words. But if you're a lottery guy, man, I'll take you to the casino with me. And we can throw some money down on red or black or whatever. If you know what's coming up, I want to know that because you must be pretty good then.
Well, I will tell you this. I was a roulette dealer for 3 different charity events, and I think all the times, if not at least twice, I think it was every time I did it, the same numbers, but my numbers would come up, like numbers connected to me. My dad's number, my number, 00 would come up, and I remember somebody saying to me, they're like, I can't win on anything. I said, "You're not paying attention." So I don't know how I do it. It's the flick of a wrist and the spinning of the ball, but when I'm on the table, my stuff connects with me, and 0 and 00 show up. However, I haven't gotten the vibe at a casino recently. Like when I go to Turning Stone, I haven't gotten that today's, today, this is where I'm heading, this is what I'm doing. It eludes me at Turning Stone, but I'm hoping that my roulette opportunities will present themselves at Turning Stone soon.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Do you go to the casino at all?
I like to, I like the atmosphere. I don't go all the time, but, to go sometimes and, play some machines and so on and so forth. It's fun.
Yeah, I like doing it. I'm usually good on the slots, but Mike Wheeler, aside from the betting world and the just throwing it at the table and seeing if it happens, the preparation world of what you've done as a coach cannot go understated, as I said in the intro. It doesn't matter what level you've been successful. Why do you think that is? What is it about your plan? What is it about the scheming that you use and the different things that you do on offense and defense? What is it about what you've built over the years that you feel like can be picked up from a college and brought to a high school and continue to be successful?
Well, when I was playing basketball myself, back in high school and college, I played for a few coaches that really like to play fast, and go up and down, pressure the basketball full court. And it was fun. It's a lot more fun for the players because they don't have to think too much. It's like going to the park after school and playing 5-on-5 with your friends. Yeah. And you're just playing basketball. You're not running sets. You're not, you just got to play. So I think playing for those coaches throughout my high school and college career, I really enjoyed that type of style, that tempo. And, when I started coaching, it was shortly after college. I just implemented that into my system, transition oriented basketball, go up and down, defensive pressure in the half court, in the 3/4 court. But also I think, especially coaching girls, the girls kind of enjoy, at least when I was here at OCC and now at Liverpool, the girls really like that style. You don't have to think so much.
Yeah.
You don't have to, you just play. We run, we have spots to run to in our transition. You have certain areas where certain people go. And, long as you get to those spots, you get an opportunity to score in my system. But, there's a lot of other little small details that have to, you got to be able to rebound. You got to be able to get stops. We don't let the ball bounce twice before we take it out on a made basket. We push, we go on everything. And that's the type of stuff I implement early in the year. I think that's why, a lot of the success has come with my programs is because of style of play and getting the girls and the athletes to buy into my system.
Yeah, and I love that, and I appreciate the breakdown, and like you said, moving fast, and I remember that from OCC, and you and I having that conversation about what you wanted from them, and like in certain things, little nuances, like we don't let the ball bounce twice, like you said. And when you teach something like that, and you can really get the student athletes to buy into what you're trying to do and the benefits that come from it, how have you brought it in and kind of sold it? Is it like, hey, let's do it, watch it, and then see how quickly you can get involved, see how important your spot is, see what this can do for our, do this in practice, and then they go and do it in a game or two, and they say, wow, we really like it, it's working. How do you, because it's one thing to have the idea, it's another thing to implement it and have it work. Why do you think your student athletes enjoy it, and how quickly do you think they kind of jumped on it at Liverpool?
Well, we have, I think, the way I've always started implementing is with just five girls on the floor, and there's no defenders, and we'll play games against the clock. So, yeah. I'll go from anywhere from 30 seconds down to 15 seconds, and they have to find a way to score in all the way down to 15. And if not, they owe me a sprint, or if they miss layups in the time frame. And all of that is really the options. So I'll give them 5 to 10 options to start the season off and early in the preseason. So they know, we'll go through them. I don't challenge them right away. I give them the spots and the options so they know where they're looking to score. Then we start adding time on the clock. And I'm like, okay, option 1, 2, and 3, you got to get in 20 seconds, and all the layups have to go down. Otherwise, you're going to owe me a sprint. So then we'll start there, and then we'll work our way down or work our way up. And I think just little basic things like that. And then I add more options, and then I add shooting options. And then now when we're playing in a game, they have all those options in their head. So they're running to their spots, but if they know one option's not there, the second option's not there, well, the third option might be there. So they're looking for all those options, but they're not running a set. It's just playing basketball. And I think you have to start with no defense on the floor to kind of get them an idea of where they are. And then I add the defenders later in the drills, and then now they're playing against another 5, and now they have to score against 5 in 15 seconds. And if not, there's a game we play where it's like 15-second drill, where if you don't score in 15 seconds, the horn goes off, you got to drop the ball, and the other team comes at you, and they got to score in 15 seconds. But again, those all make them make decisions fast, and it helps the turnovers. Early in the year, you turn the ball over a lot because you're getting used to it.
Yeah.
But as you go and you start playing together, each of the players know each other's, skill, what they like, what their favorite thing is to do. So and so might, like the ball on the left wing, knock down a three. That's where she's going to be. I know she's there. My point guard likes to take it off the dribble and get to the rim sometimes. Well, there's a screen set up top off of it, and that's an option that we have off our transition. So that's pretty much how my system is implemented early in the season.
And speaking here with Mike Wheeler, Liverpool Warriors girls basketball head coach, as we step forward into the state playoffs, this team all season, and you and I and the team had a show at Avicoli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool just a few weeks back. There's only one loss this whole season, and it was against Horizon High School when you guys took a trip. And we spoke about that trip, and we spoke about what you learned from it. How important, how valuable was that game and that trip itself to get away from competition within the state of New York and to play somebody else? And that only loss on the schedule this entire season is 56-52. It was a 2-possession game. So even that loss was a game where your team was in it. And I know that, there was different things that happened down the stretch in that matchup, but we spoke about that trip before. Now that we're deeper into the season, what did that trip mean in general of all the teams you played, and to have that one loss, just what you took away from that?
I think for us, it was the best thing that could happen to us at that time. I told them after the loss too, no loss is great. Nobody wants to lose. But the fact that, we can get something out of a loss that early to make us better as a basketball team. And I think the mental aspect for us and composure-wise, we learned a lot from that game. We were down 22 points midway through I think it was at the start of the third, we were down 22. And then, we kind of got settled a little bit, and then we started making some shots, and then the defense responded. And we got it down to 3 with like a minute to go, and they knocked down a shot there down the stretch to kind of push it away. But, to be in that basketball game after being down 22, and I thought the mental capacity and the composure for us, we kind of learned from that. And since that point, we've rattled off 13 straight. And I think that's the biggest thing that we take away from that loss is, I always talk about with them, if we lose a basketball game, is what type of team are we, how we respond from a loss. Great teams respond well to a loss. And I think winning 13 straight says something about this basketball team.
Yeah, and it says something about them not feeling themselves, so to speak, not getting lost in the mix of things and staying focused and staying poised. The leadership of this team is something that you and I have spoken about before. Who's been emerging, and especially after that loss, rattling off 13 straight wins, who has emerged for you that maybe we haven't talked about in leadership, something that you've seen from this team and these student athletes? Do you have one or two that have really just kind of, I don't even want to say surprised you, but have just elevated themselves?
Our 2 captains, Addison Graham and Kay Sweeney, both seniors. Addison's a D1 lacrosse player. She's going to play at Marquette next year. And having that type of mind frame, the fact that she's going to go play a D1 sport and she's a D1 athlete, she brings a lot to the table with leadership. And it's not even just, on the floor, it's off the floor when she's on the bench. She leads, and she does a great stuff. She does great doing that. And the same thing goes for Kay Sweeney. She's a she's a player that's probably stepped up the most for us in the last couple of years. By far our most improved player. She's, as a sophomore, she wasn't even playing as a sophomore on the varsity team. But she's got length. She's athletic. She rebounds. She can play guard and forward. And she's a 5'9", very athletic player. So I feel like she's done a great job in starting for us for the last 2 years. And she's the only senior that we lose on the starting lineup. I bring all 4 starters back next year.
Yeah.
And that leads me to them. I think for them, 2 juniors, Abria Cunningham and Gianna Washington, and they're both, Gianna's our point guard. She does a tremendous job at taking care of the basketball and leads on the floor as a point guard. Everything you want as a coach in your point guard, she has it. She does a great job. And Cunningham's an unbelievable basketball player. She is one of them. I've been coaching for, 27, 28 years, and she's probably the most athletic player I've ever coached in my 28 years. And I've coached a lot of basketball players. But you can't teach that. Then I have 2 sophomores that start for us that even, one started last year, Gracie Sleeth, and Angelina Kohler. They're both sophomores and they start for us. So they play some big positions at a very young age for us, at a very young level. They're sophomores and juniors. So what I like in that is that they've learned a lot to become veteran-like. They're not young, like they're more mature, and they've learned that in the last couple of years. So I think that's really what has led this basketball team going forward from the start to finish and where we are right now.
And where you are is a game that is happening for those of you obviously here watching live. That's a game that's happening tomorrow, this Saturday, March 9th at noon Eastern time at the SRC Arena against Colony. Last year when you went to States, you played another team from the Albany area, Albany High School, defeated them to move on. Now you have Colony. What can you tell us about this upcoming game and your thoughts on heading on to States again and, going back home, Mike, to the SRC Arena?
Yeah. Colony's a really solid basketball team. They're physical. They have their point guard's a freshman, and she's already committed to Siena College. Siena College has already offered a scholarship as a freshman.
Yeah.
She had 24 in the sectional finals. She can shoot it from the perimeter. They have a senior, another senior guard that's a little taller that also can shoot it, and she's very good inside and out, rebounds it well. They're a very good physical rebounding team, and that's something where we need to be at our best tomorrow is on the glass. We've talked all week about that being the difference maker for us, is winning the rebounding battle. I think our athleticism and I think how well we run in transition and how well we defend are going to be very big for us tomorrow. That all has to happen, but I've let them know that our rebounding we have to win the rebounding battle if we want to win this thing tomorrow. So it's going to be a tough one for us. They were a 4 seed in their section, and they rattled off. They beat the 2 seed and the 1 seed. So, and according to their schedule, they've ran off like 8 out of the last 9. And their only losses to Avril Park, who is 22-0, and that's their Avril Park's pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a tough one for us, but we gotta come out and play. It's not about really, I talk all the time. Postseason's really about going out and executing. You got everything there. We've been doing it all year. You know what we do. Now you got to go out and do it.
Yeah, and a final note here: the 6th classification that we have. Last year when you won the section title, it was Section 3 Class AA. This year it's Section 3 Class AAA. It's the highest, so it joins AA, A, B, C, and D for sports of boys basketball, girls basketball, boys and girls soccer, baseball, softball, and girls volleyball. Just what you think about that Section 3 decided to add another classification, and that Liverpool is in that. So you're back-to-back sectional champions in Section 3, but it's called Class AA and Class AAA at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about the classification besides it's, the school size and based on your previous success. Like Bishop Ludden was AAA this year, but by far they're not, school size at all compared to a Liverpool CNS or anything like that. But their winning percentage in the past couple of years have been very successful against higher ranked teams. So they take I think they take a bunch of different things into factor. But I think eventually the one thing about the classification is people can move up and down. So like, Ludden may not be AAA this year, but they may be AA or A next year. You just don't know, and as long as us, our school size stays the same, we're not going anywhere. I don't think CNS is going anywhere. Baldwinsville's not going to go anywhere. But those are the classification things. And I think it also helps the fairness of things, like you're playing where you should. But if you're playing down in a class that, you're wiping everybody out, you might move up. I don't know. I think the bottom line is it's confusing because it's my second year and they changed it in my second year. So I'm still trying to learn the ups and downs about that. So I believe the big thing is school size. That's how they really determine things.
Well, what you need to know is that whatever class name it is, you guys are champions, and you're moving forward into the state playoffs this weekend. This Saturday, March 9th at the SRC Arena at noon Eastern Time, you can come and see Liverpool girls basketball. The Warriors go up against Colony for the opportunity to move forward toward a New York State title in just the second year for Mike Wheeler. Mike, as always, I appreciate you, and I will see you tomorrow.
Thanks for having me, Dan. I appreciate it.
All right, take care. Coming from Mike Wheeler one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We've been bouncing things around here a little bit today as we want to make sure we get all these interviews in. So I'm going to go back to lead that we started doing here and continue to have that conversation, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Today's topic, words and actions. So putting it together, and Mike was just speaking on it, right? And we were having that conversation about, we know who we are, we know what we can do. Now you got to go out and do it. I told the girls that they need to rebound, but now we got to go out and rebound, right? Words and actions. You have to have them married together, because if you meet somebody whose words don't match their actions, whose actions don't match their words, it's not really a good thing. It's not a good thing in business. It's not a good thing on a team. It's not a good thing in a romantic relationship. It's not a good thing in a friendship. It's not a good thing with family if your words don't match your actions. Because if you are who you say you are, which are words, then your actions will back it up. And I tell people this all the time. It's one of the things that I've come to learn over the years when people speak for you or try to tell people about you and they paint a negative light of you, is that if you actually are a good person, if you actually are who you say you are and you're doing good things and you're going to things with pure intentions and a good heart, that all you have to do to refute all of the stuff that's out there about you is to just keep on keeping on. Just be yourself. You don't have to think about it. If you're a good person, you don't have to think, oh, I got to do something good today. If you're a kind person and a nice person, if you're a hardworking person, if you're a person that lives by your word, you don't have to sit here and think about it. You just do it. Because if it is who you are, then it is who you are. It's as simple as that. If you are who you say you are, then it'll be shown, it'll be seen. And I pray that that's a good thing. I don't want somebody out there saying, I am who I say I am. I like to get in fights in bars, and look at me, I'm getting in fights in bars. Like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in life, you have to really pay attention to who people are. And when they tell you who they are, you have to believe them. Because people oftentimes, for whatever reason, will tell you the red flags. They'll tell you the things that about them that should concern you. And some people go, yeah, whatever. I'll fix it. I'll change it. I'll make it better. But you won't. Because no matter what you do, you cannot make somebody do something. You could bring the horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink. And I think that a lot of people, myself included, get stuck in that, well, I brought the horse to water. Why isn't it drinking? Because the horse has to choose to drink. Sometimes when Lily's thirsty, I can tell usually when she's thirsty, and she'll be like, putting her tongue out a bunch of times and licking her nose and licking. And I'm like, okay, do you want some water? And most of the time I bring the water to her and she drinks it. But sometimes she looks like she's thirsty and I bring the water to her and she doesn't drink it. And then I say to myself, okay, well, if you're thirsty, honey, drink the water. But no matter how much I push it toward her nose, bring her over to it, lean her down and say, hey, babe, you could drink right now. It's okay. If she doesn't want to, she's not going to do it. And you have to realize that about people. People do what they want to do. And words and actions are great if they coincide with each other and they meet together. I don't know anybody who's going to tell you that they're a bad person. I haven't met... I've had people say, like, you shouldn't date me because I'm this and I'm that. And the funny thing is, when somebody tells you who they are, listen, and I didn't. But when very rarely will you find someone who does bad things and is going to tell you that they're a bad person. You'll oftentimes find people who do bad things and justify it somehow in their brain. Oh, it's okay because this is what I meant by it. But you have to really look at words and actions. I don't like hanging around people who aren't who they say they are. If you say I can trust you and you say that you're a good friend, okay. But see, the reality of it all is, if you're a good friend, you don't have to tell me that. If I can trust you, you don't have to tell me that. I'm going to figure it out. You just got to be you. But your words must meet your actions. When you say, hey, I'm going to get your video done by this Friday at noon. It shouldn't be done at 12:01. It shouldn't be done on Saturday. It shouldn't be done 3 weeks from now. It should be done to this Friday at noon because you said you would. Your words have to meet your actions. And if you think people aren't paying attention to it, they are. Business owners are. Friends are. Family. I'll tell my mom and dad, like, I don't want to be late anymore. And then if I show up late over and over and over again and I'm on time one time, I'm proud of myself for being on time. My parents are looking at it going, 4 out of 5 times, you were late. If you want to be on time, then just be on time. Don't apologize. What did my dad say to me? Don't apologize for being late. Just don't do it again. If you're not late, you don't have to apologize. So watch people's words and actions. Watch what they say and watch what they do and see if it coincides. Because not everybody is who they say they are. And I know you want to believe that. Me growing up as a kid, I trusted everybody. I knew not to like talk to strangers and go toward vans and all that stuff. And I, knew not to do some of this crazy stuff that these schools are apparently doing. But when I trusted a lot of people. I gave people the opportunity to not let me down. And sometimes people do and sometimes they don't. But your words and your actions are not mutually exclusive. If they don't equal each other out, then something with that person is not something that you need to be around. And if you don't believe me, think about your past. Think about something you might be going through right now. Dan, they told me they were going to da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, well, that was 3 months ago. They didn't do it yet, did they? People do what they want to do. You have to understand that. You have to understand that. People will do what they want to do. Not what you tell them to do, not what they have to do. People will do what they want to do. You could have a parent of a child who doesn't take care of themselves, right? Doesn't take a shower, doesn't brush their teeth, doesn't care. And they're like, you're not leaving the house unless you do it. So the kid reluctantly does it. And then the kid turns 18, goes to college, and stops taking showers and brushing their teeth because they couldn't wait for the opportunity to be in a position where they weren't forced to do something. If they don't know the importance of washing their body and brushing their teeth, then the moment that they get where they don't have anybody nagging them to do it, they're not going to do it. That's what you have to understand. Words and actions. It's what people want to do. It's what matters to them. And then they'll say something and then they have to do it or not do it. But you have to watch where people are and what they're doing. Because unfortunately in this world, not everybody tells the truth. So you have to pay attention. But you know who does tell the truth? The whole truth and nothing but the truth every single time? God. And I cannot tell you how many times I've opened the Bible to a random page and God was speaking directly to me about something that directly was affecting my life at that point and meant the world to me. And I'm sitting here going, the Bible was written thousands of years ago. How are these words looking like somebody just wrote them today? Maybe you should take a look. Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. Proudly presented by the fantastic team led by Jim Sikowski at Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Head out to both locations today. Let them know that DT sent you. We'll take a step aside. We'll be back right after this with the top dog of the week. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also, I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. It is now time for our top dog of the week. Top dog of the week, proudly presented by the fantastic team at K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding. K9 Camp Dog Daycare can be found by simply going to 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. It is right across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Very easy to get to, right off of Erie Boulevard. You can come off of James Street. You can come from downtown. You can come from off of Erie Boulevard, off the highway, by the thruway. Very easy to get to K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding. The daycare is available to you, like I said, on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. You can get in touch with them at 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110. And, of course, you can go to Kamp.com for more information. For K9 Kampground Dog Boarding, longer-term care for your furry-loving friend where every dog gets their own individual cabin. That's why you got to call 315-299-4013. The campground is located just a minute down the road or so from the daycare. The campground is on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse. You can get more information at kampground.com. That's 315-299-4013 for the phone number once again. Our top dog of the week. Man, I got a lot of places I can go with this. Top dog of the week, I got a bunch of them. How about some of the dogs are cats? Bearcats, bobcats. Some of the dogs are dolphins. How about that? Because I have to honor the LeMoyne men's basketball team for making history as a top dog of the week this week, as they played in their first ever Division I postseason game, first ever NEC tournament game, first ever hosted at home Division I postseason game, and first ever hosted at home NEC tournament game, all in the same game, and defeated last year's darling of the NCAA tournament, Fairleigh Dickinson, aka FDU. And they didn't just defeat the Knights, they defeated them by 21 points at home for an historic victory. So they're top dogs. The LeMoyne women's basketball team, top dogs of the week, as they get set to play this Monday, March 11th at home at 7 p.m. Why are they top dogs? Because their first year in Division I and first year in the Northeast Conference, aka NEC, they went 14-2 in the conference and ended in second place in the entire conference, and will be hosting at least the first, and if they make it to the second round, and potentially the whole thing. And they hosted last year for the NE10. So it says a lot to go from one division to another division, NCAA Division II to Division I, and things look the same when it comes to LeMoyne, in the sense of they're at the top two in Division II, top two in Division I in their conference. So big time shout out to LeMoyne for rising to the 2 seed, ending the regular season, first season in Division I with a winning record overall, and in their conference 14-2, which is incredible. Incredibly awesome. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse, I'll be sending off today, and I cannot wait to share that with you on our social media as well as our YouTube channel, and I'm ecstatic. They're both heading to the national tournament again. I started covering this team, and they weren't going to the national tournament right away. In the time that I've been covering this team, because I started with Danny Frisina, who started the men's basketball program, they didn't start off going to the national tournament. They got to the national tournament toward the end of his time at Bryan and Stratton, showing all that hard work, dedication, determination, and foundational pillars that he put up coming to life and coming to fruition. And I'm so happy for him that he got to see some of these things realized. And the women's team, I've been with Bryan and Stratton since the team started. And so both of them making it to the national tournament is massive. Clay Gagan Sherman leading the men and Tay Baker leading the women. And I get to, like I said, see them off today as they're going to be heading on the road. And I cannot wait to do that. And I'm honoring them as top dogs of the week because they both made the national tournament despite any adversity that they've gone through. So I pray that they are locked in and ready to go because they're both very capable. And I'm ecstatic for them to head down to Richmond, Virginia and fight for a national championship in the USCAA. The Binghamton Bearcats honoring them as top dogs of the week, as tonight the women's basketball team led by Beth Ann Shapiro-Ord will start off on the road at Bryant with an opportunity in the quarterfinals of the America East tournament to move ahead toward a potential automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. And the men, who will play tomorrow, Saturday, March 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the road at New Hampshire, led by their head coach Lavelle Sanders for Binghamton Bearcats men's basketball. Excited to see what they're doing. I also want to honor Binghamton University as top dogs for spending all the money that they are spending and doing all the things that they are doing to continue to build and create more opportunities for their student athletes and the overall community of Binghamton University as a whole in the Southern Tier. Just incredible what they're investing in and what they're doing. So a big time thanks and a congratulations to Gene Marshall and everybody at Binghamton University. My other top dog, Pop, I love you. My dad, he's a fighter. He's awesome. He's been taking care of himself, doing a lot of great things. We're praying and hoping for good news and great things to come. I love you, Dad, and know that you are a top dog in my life, and I am extremely, extremely happy that our relationship is stronger than it's ever been, and we continue to grow together, and I know God's got you. So, with that being said, we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. We will be back with the MAC Commissioner in an all-new Commissioner Corner on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. MAC Commissioner Dr. John Steichbrecher joins me to speak on the addition of UMass and moving forward.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, located for you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your home for all of your sports card needs. Folks, if you've never collected sports cards before, a great time to start is right now, because GG Cards and Breaks just offers an awesome world of sports cards, from baseball, basketball, football, hockey, soccer, AEW, all sport, to the Disney Lorcana trading card game, and of course Pokemon. They have so many different things for all different ages, and it's fun and it's exciting. If you have a favorite team, you can collect that team. They try to bring in Syracuse player cards, and they have boxes. They're the only place that I know that does this, that has every Major League Baseball, every National Football League, and every National Basketball Association team. All of the teams. There's 30 teams in MLB, 30 teams in the NBA, 32 in the NFL. They have boxes of all of them that you can go and search through them and find your favorite players or find a new player. It's awesome what you can do with GG Cards and Breaks to get yourself closer to the things that you love, to the people that you love, to the teams that you love. It's really an awesome experience, and I appreciate them so very much because they do things differently. They truly care about the hobby. They're involved in the hobby. They open their own boxes and their packs, and they have fun with it all throughout the year. Led by Josh and Anthony, Alex, Joel, the entire team, I want to thank GG Cards and Breaks, for bringing out the big kid in me. And you can find them on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, here on the broadcast on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I am honored and privileged, as always, to bring you a segment that we like to call the Commissioner Corner. And in the Commissioner Corner, we have the opportunity of speaking with commissioners from all over the country, and someone who is no stranger to the broadcast is Dr. John Steichbrecher of the MAC, the Mid-American Conference. And I know, and I hear this from people that are connected with the show all over the country, they love some MACtion. So with that being said, John, how are you?
I'm great. Good morning. It's great to be with you.
Yeah, it's great to be with you as well. And, you know, you and I spoke about this before. The fact that your conference seems, over the years of this crazy realignment, to be the most concrete. Nobody came in, nobody's going out. There's 12 for football. And that, you know, it's like you knew who you were year in and year out. We've seen the ACC change and the SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10, the Pac-12's gone. The American has had to retool itself, the Sun Belt, Conference USA, all of these conferences having to figure things out. Yet the MAC has been consistent. What is it about your full members that you feel has just locked everybody in together? Because it seems like we're living in a world of, if I can make $12 more here, if I can get that name on my logo here, or if I can get that logo on my shirt here or my jersey, it seems that there is a lack of loyalty in collegiate athletics and this constant need for more and more money. Yet the Mid-American Conference has been very, very connected. And this whole talk of, like, you know, we're together is something that we hear all the time. And 3 years later, somebody moves. We don't see that in the MAC. Why do you think that is?
Well, incredible homogeneity among the membership is probably at the top of the list, and that spans a bunch of different things. You know, we're completely national public research institutions, and now will be 13 of those. Our geography is exceptional. Our sports offerings are very similar. How we fund our programs are very similar. The level of the budgets are very similar. All of that stuff kind of plays into it, and you know, incredibly robust and balanced competitive opportunities. You don't win in this league because you've out-resourced somebody. You win in this league because you've made wise hires from your president in athletics on down through the head coaches and assistant coaches, who then go out and recruit and motivate and train really special student athletes. So all of that gets into play. I tell you what, outside of probably the autonomy for conferences, there's not a lot of difference in value as you move among leagues. There just simply isn't. Now, maybe you can change some of the variables in terms of maybe you have a chance to reduce some costs based on travel or things like that. More often than not, that's not the case. And so you're looking for what are other things you're doing. If you're an institution, maybe you're looking to go and join another group that looks more similar to who you are, that addresses more of the needs you have. Maybe you think the grass is greener somewhere. A hint to most people, the grass is rarely greener. We all have the same problems to some extent. It's just a matter of how well do we work together to address and deal with those issues.
Yeah, you know, and like you said, the grass is rarely ever greener on the other side. Something that I always think about when it comes to the grass is greener conversation in that comment is the grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. How have you, as the Mid-American Conference, made sure to water the grass of your membership?
Well, I think our folks work very well together. I think we communicate well together. I think we try to be attentive to our needs and are all responsive to each other. Yeah, let's face it, it's a competitive industry, an enterprise. By the same token, we're all in this together, and we're only as strong as our weakest link. So it's incumbent on us to lift everybody up. And one of the benefits of having like institutions. If one school is facing a challenge, pretty good chance some other folks are dealing with the same thing. And so it kind of pulls everybody in together.
And when you say you kept talking about the homogeneity and just how each of these members mirror each other, and there's so many similarities. What is it about UMass that in that same conversation, why are they alike? Why did they align? Why do they make sense as a full member?
Yeah, well, I think they tick a lot of the boxes we just talked about. Um, Public institution, check. National research institution, check. And in fact, one of the top 35 public universities in the country. Geography, contiguous state, check. So they stretch us a little, but in a sensible fashion. Sports offerings, check. You just keep going down the list of things, and we start to look alike. They've got some work to do in football, but we like what we're seeing. I think they've made investments. I like the leadership of the program. It's different from when they were in as an affiliate member, oh gosh, roughly a decade ago. And on the basketball, they have a wonderful basketball tradition. We'd like to think we can grow together, and we can both rise together. And so we'll see. So again, they look like the rest of the group, and that's comforting.
Speaking here with Dr. John Steichbrecher in this edition of Commissioner Corner on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with the MAC Commissioner. UMass puts you at 13 full members on July 1st of 2025. The uneven side of things, because you have been split into divisions in football, is there the thought or the anticipation that a conference that has been so locked in and said, here are our 12, now that you've been open to number 13, are you open to number 14 to even things out?
I guess in the world of membership, you never say never. But again, you don't add to have even numbers or add to have odd numbers. You add to bring in people who strengthen you and fit with the membership. I'll relay this story. I was waiting to get this question during the press conference yesterday at UMass because I had a prop all prepared, had my football jersey all prepared. In high school and in college, my number was 13. I'm entirely comfortable with that number. If that's where we end up, that's where we end up. If it's something else, well, we'll deal with that when we deal with it. But that's right now the focus has been on the University of Massachusetts, and we'll kind of proceed from there.
Is there the reality for you that the Mid-American Conference in football is going to stay in two divisions? Are you looking at keeping the Mid-American East and West, and does UMass just jump into the East? How do you look at that?
Yeah, no, we're going out of divisions.
Okay.
And that'll start this coming year. And we had a long conversation about that. And we felt it was, we had a better chance to get our top two teams in our championship game if we got out of divisions. It provided us an opportunity to rotate teams through the conference quicker by getting out of divisions. We actually had circumstances where you could play 4 years and not see everybody in your career in football. Yeah. I didn't like that. Going to what we're moving to, you'll see everybody home and away in your career as a player. I think that's important. It's important to the connectivity. It's important to the experience.
We've seen, John, that it used to be that you had to have a certain amount of schools, right, in order to have a conference championship. And as your conference grew in membership and then you split into divisions, growing up as a kid, like, that was seen as superiority. It was seen as, look at this conference, they're big enough to do this, they're big enough to have divisions. Now we've flipped in the world of collegiate athletics out of divisions, like you said the MAC is going to be doing, because it seems to be better of a model to say, well, when the committee's looking at us, when bowls are looking at us, let's get our top two teams to face off against each other. And because they could be in the same division in a given year or multiple years. So now we have shed the division side of things and this whole reality that you just brought up of let's get home and home. Let's make sure everybody's seeing each other, you know, at least once at home, at least once on the road. You stay for 4 years, you see a team twice. Why do you think this all shifted from build your conference, form divisions to build your conference, do away with divisions?
Well, used to be the rule was you had to have at least 12.
Yeah.
And it seemed logical to split into divisions to do that. I think people have gone back and forth. And then the Big 12 was the first that asked for a waiver when they dropped under 12. We're at 10. We permitted them to continue the championship game and so on. I think some interesting things to watch for. As you look at an SEC now at 16, you look at a Big 10 at 18. I don't know what number it makes sense to go back to divisions. I don't completely know how you do a great job of figuring out a champion when you get so large, when there's so many teams you won't see. And so at some point, people may want to reconsider going back to divisions to facilitate some logical form of championships. But there's lots of ways to skin the cat. I acknowledge that and recognize that. We had our own conversations about that and made the decision that we'll get out of the division business for the time being. But we'll see what the future holds.
Yeah, it is an interesting world. And as we're ballooning here, John, to mega conferences again, there were these mega conferences that used to be regional. Now it's funny because the mega conferences have nothing to do with region. But as these conferences are growing and ballooning, I would imagine at some point it's going to blow up again. As it gets 18, 16, 14 in different conferences and whatnot, are we heading toward the history repeats itself of conferences like the Pac-12 dissolve and we just see these other conferences just eat and eat and eat? They get so big, somebody gets upset, few schools get upset, they say, hey, we're not being represented, hey, it's too big for us. Like you said, it's hard to find a champion, it's hard to even schedule games, should we even have non-conference games? Are we heading toward it blowing up again? And if and when it blows up again, do you think we will be in regions? Because a lot of conversation out there is that football should be regionally put together. So your thoughts?
Well, it's a good question. The recent history would suggest, and if we go back 15, 20 years, that every time TV contracts come up at the upper end of the food chain, the autonomy conferences, that seems to be a trigger for some level of movement. We're clearly seeing, to some extent, a consolidation of brands.
Yeah.
That is clearly occurring. Will that continue to occur? There are outside, I'll call forces, I don't mean that in an evil way, there are outside entities that are actually trying to stimulate some of that. There's private equity out there trying to stimulate pulling together groupings of schools and things like that. That's a distinct possibility somewhere down the road. Where, I don't know. That perhaps works for a handful of folks. It doesn't work for the majority of folks. The Mid-American Conference is going to be some level of a regional conference. I struggle to see a time that you would see us pick up schools that are, Gulf Coast or coast to California. I say that and watch what happens, right? But that doesn't work with our DNA. It doesn't work with what our economic realities. Doesn't work with most people's economic realities. Now, the conferences that are doing that, they've got significant resources, and so that's different issues they're challenged with. So I think you could see a host of things. I would keep my eyes on what's going on with the Atlantic Coast Conference, and can they figure out a way to keep their folks together and content and happy. If they can, I think that will help keep the waters somewhat settled. If that doesn't occur, then I think you could see a little bit of a scramble among some institutions.
Yeah, I mean, It seems to be, and I've said this before, and I know that, your job is tasked to be the leader of the MAC, but obviously you're paying attention. And as a commissioner, there's now going to be 9 FBS conferences with no more Pac-12, which is a world that I think a lot of people thought we would never live in. I've seen over the past couple of years, 2-3 years now in my head, this whole SEC can maybe do it alone. To Big Ten, adding who they're adding the West Coast could be their argument of, hey, SEC, if you want to do it alone, we'll come with you. To now the conversation of the college football playoff looking to maybe favorite the SEC and the Big Ten and say, okay, if we're going to have a playoff, let's make sure we take care of you. If there's all of this emphasis on, like you said, putting together these certain types of brands and really locking them in, and if for some reason Clemson and Florida State got out of the ACC and went to the SEC, and a Notre Dame went to the Big Ten, now we're talking about a ton of brands within 2 conferences. We're already seeing these conferences get potentially preferential treatment or some rule changes that will fit them. Are we heading toward that? Are we heading toward not a Division 1A AA, but a Division 1A AA AAA, where there's going to be the SEC and the Big Ten, and then the MAC and the rest of the 7 conferences, and then Division 1 AA? I mean, I know you have to have a pulse on this because you have to protect your conference. Where do you think we're heading?
Well, when the NCAA last fall made an announcement regarding the NIT and how they were going to treat that this year, and that the autonomy conferences would each get 2 automatic invites to that, and then they wouldn't award regular season champions for anybody else, and then they'll just pick the best teams. Okay, that was a clear indication of kind of where this enterprise is going. Is that, yeah, maybe we have Division 1 whatever, but we're going to treat different entities within that association differently, different rights and privileges. How about that? I think clearly we're seeing that right now. It's uncomfortable. Again, a lot of it's somewhat based on past performance. It's based on brand and perceived value that's brought to television contracts and things like that. And again, it's a different way of looking at it and a different way of doing it. I'm not here to say I like it or dislike it. It is what it is, and we seem to be trending towards that more and more today.
Yeah, and when we look at the 5+7 format for the new college football playoff that will expand from 4 to 12 here in 2024, the thing that people need to know is that they're going to take that 5+7. That 5 stands for the highest ranked conference champions of the 9 conferences. So in that case, more often than not, I believe, even though it's not in the verbiage, that the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12 in no specific order are going to have probably those top 4 spots if the committee votes how it has. And so that means the 5th spot would go to the remaining school or the remaining conferences. So that's 1 spot for 5 conferences, your conference included. The MAC, the Sun Belt, CUSA, the Mountain West, and the American. That 5th spot, albeit an automatic bid, does not guarantee the 5th seed. It does not guarantee to bye. The top 4 seeds get a bye. So if we're living in a world where the top 4 seeds are Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC, in whatever order, and the MAC, for argument's sake, gets that 5th because you're the highest ranked conference champion above the other 4 conferences that are left, you could get the 5 seed, you could get the 7 seed, you could get the 12 seed. You could be playing on the road the whole tournament for the college football playoff. What are your thoughts on how this ruling's been put about? Because it at least allows one of the other 5 conferences that are not autonomous to get in, but it doesn't guarantee you the same rights and privileges as you just talked about of other conferences.
Well, it guarantees access, and then the chips fall from there. And if you're in the top 4, you're going to get a bye. If you're not, you won't. And then you seed it out accordingly. I think I don't have any issue with that. I am uncomfortable if we assign buys without knowing who we're putting into those slots, right? Let's let the results on the field dictate how we bracket the event. That would be my preference, at least.
And for you to have at least somewhat of a door open now for the MAC, it from my seat, it doesn't seem fair still to the MAC and Conference USA, the Mountain West, the Sun Belt, and the American, but there's at least some door. What does that mean to you as a conference to be able to look at your soon-to-be 13 members, but for this season 12, to say to them, hey, if we take care of business, we schedule tough non-conference games, we show what we can do against some of these other conferences, we show what we can do against each other, we're getting rid of divisions, our top two teams are going to play in the conference championship. What is the message from the commissioner of the MAC, knowing that there is, for the first time ever, an actual door open for an opportunity?
Yeah, well, it's take care of business, and your institution is going to have a unique and wonderful opportunity. You know, in the BCS days, we twice qualified teams for New Year's Six games through a similar sort of arrangement. You know, we put Northern Illinois into the Orange Bowl, we put Western Michigan into the Cotton Bowl, and we earned those spots. And marvelous chance to showcase those institutions and the young men who competed, and a wonderful experience for their fans. Our history, if we look back at our data, it would tell you probably every 5 years or so, we should have a team in position to do such a thing. Again, you got to earn it. You got to schedule properly. You got to take care of things on the field, and then we'll see where the chips fall.
And that coming once again from Dr. John Steichbrecher in this edition of Commissioner Corner on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with the MAC Commissioner. Before I let you go, John, to spin back to UMass, and as we look at kind of this big picture thing, there's only two independents in football that are left, Notre Dame and UConn. UMass they've been in the A-10 for their other sports, and they've been independent in football. We've spoken about their brand and what they've done. We've spoken about their history. Right now, inside of the A-10 for men's basketball, they have an 11-7 record in the A-10, and they have 20 wins overall. They're 20-10 as they head toward the postseason tournament for the A-10. And we know the success. We know the Marcus Camby days and so on and so forth. When you look at the football side of things and taking a team out of independence, we've seen Army do it, Navy do it, New Mexico State do it. UMass is the most recent now to make this jump. What about their football program, and what about putting them into this new scheduling for you? I know you said they had some work to do, but what is your hope, and what is your glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel for why UMass football is good to be in the conference and not to be independent?
Our expectation is that in a short period of time, they're going to be a regular competitor for a conference title. I think if you look at their history, and that's what you have to do in these situations, you have to look back at their history and make some estimates based on that. When they have been in conferences, they have typically been fighting for that conference title and generally been very relevant regionally and nationally. I expect the same here.
That coming from Dr. John Steichbrecher. John, you've been great to answer all my questions, so I'm going to throw a little curveball at you today. This is something commissioners never get to do because you're always sitting behind the microphone. I'm going to let you throw a question at me, and it could be anything sports related or life related, but as a commissioner, I'm putting myself on the hot seat. This is live around the world on audio and video. You can ask me any question in the world. What do you got for me?
Who's going to win the men's and women's Final Fours?
Oh my goodness, John, why don't you just throw me right into the fire? So for the women's side of things, I would love, I mean, it's more open now. We've obviously seen that with everything that's gone on, be it NIL or the transfer portal or both. But I think on the women's side, there's a bunch of teams that have a shot, but I would love to see Caitlin Clark and Iowa get to the end again and win it this time, because this is her swan song. And I think she did things the right way by telling everybody ahead of time, like, hey, I'm not, after this, I'm going to the WNBA. And I think what it does is it creates more, like, people want to buy tickets now because now they know this is the end. They want to be a part of the run. So hopefully she helped in selling tickets and helped with viewership. But I think there's a lot of good teams out there, but I would love to see, I've seen a lot of good stories in my life, John. I'd like to see Caitlin Clark in Iowa. On the other side of it, for the men, I think UConn's a threat. I covered UConn last year. I've covered them, over the years, and I have all the respect in the world for the work that's been done there. At the same time, I would really like, and last year I wrote on a napkin, I wrote Houston no matter what. And this year, Houston's number one ranked team in the nation currently. I would love to see Calvin Sampson do it. I love every opportunity I get to speak with him as well. And I feel like Houston has been this sleeping giant that gets some respect, but it's like they're right there. And for going from the American and having respect there nationally and doing things nationally to going to the Big 12 and immediately having respect there and immediately being a force, they've literally proven it doesn't matter what conference they're in. So if I had to pick right now, I would say Iowa and Houston, but I have my eye on UConn on the men's side as well. So good question.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Bonus points for the draft day reference with the writing on the napkin and no matter what. So good for you.
Well, and bonus points to you, John, for knowing that reference without me having to say that. That's what was written on there in Draft Day, which is one of the best movies that I've ever seen in my life. John, as always, I appreciate it. I appreciate you being so candid and sharing this information with us. The MAC means a lot to me because of the leadership and because of the great people that have been within it. So continued work on your part, I know will happen, and we'll be watching, and I respect the heck out of what you do. So thank you for your time.
Be well.
Take care. That coming from Dr. John Steichbrecher once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, the commissioner of the MAC, the Mid-American Conference. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, Miss Kolinski will be joining us here. She was going to join us a little bit earlier today, but they had a change in their schedule. So we are going to have her join us in just a couple minutes, as I will hang out a little bit longer here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to make sure that we have everything set up so that we can spend some time with Katie Kolinski. Appreciate her so very much. Her and I have known each other for many, many years, and she means a lot to me. She's been a wonderful friend, and I'm so happy she's back home, and I'm so happy that her first year back home has seen so much success with the team that she's a part of as an assistant coach for the LeMoyne Dolphins under Mary Grimes' leadership there. So we'll take a step aside. We'll be back right after this. Katie Kolinski joins me from LeMoyne to round out this week on Wake Up Call. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, It goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and Kampground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we're spending some bonus time with you today so that we could get everything on the schedule, including the opportunity to speak with Miss Katie Kolinski, who's joining us here on the broadcast. And Katie and I have spent many years on Wake Up Call together. We had a segment together just a few years back, and always happy to have her. Of course, we did the exclusive when she came back into Syracuse, New York, and had the opportunity to share that with you when the announcement was made of her return to her hometown, that we got to do that here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as well. And now I have Miss Kolinski picture in picture with me here wearing her LeMoyne green and gold. Miss Kolinski, how we doing?
I'm good, just like we said, prepping for these playoffs, getting ready to go for Monday. It's been a long week of not having games, so.
Yeah, you were the one team that, we have 9 teams in the NEC, and you guys finished off your regular season early. Other teams were still in competition. What has it been like for the coaching staff, for you all to what's been happening to keep them focused, keep them going? I know that these student athletes, I know they're locked in. You have some incredible leaders and some tremendous people on this team, so I'm sure it's not hard to make sure that they're focused. But has the staff tried anything different this week to kind of, work with the jitters of what I can imagine is a bunch of these ladies saying, like, we want to play already?
Yeah, well, I think the last 2 years, the same thing kind of happened here at LeMoyne, having that break. So, we just said, like, this year, like, we prepared them 2 weeks in advance. Like, listen, we're going to have a long break at the end of the season. We know it's coming. So mentally, we got to stay even more locked in every single day. We were able to have a little bit of time off this week, too, just to kind of rejuvenate from the season, which I think is good. And then, like us coaches have had the opportunity to, just watch a lot of film, prepare for the teams that we could be playing, and just be ready to go overall and, get to do a little team bonding this week as well.
What's the bonding been like? What'd you get to do as a team?
Today we're gonna go hang out, play some games and things like that together. So I think it's good just to, we don't like to call it team bonding because our team generally does it on their own time. Yeah. But we just said, we're just gonna go today, hang out together, and mentally let's just be ready for these playoffs. So. Yeah,
and seeing what's coming up here, the number 2 seed, 14-2 in the conference, a winning record in their first season in Division I for LeMoyne women's basketball, a extremely incredible and respectable record in the NEC at 14-2 and barely out of the number one spot in the conference. How does this all come about, in your opinion, Katie? You've been a part of a bunch of different teams. What's so special about this team here at LeMoyne?
Well, I think it starts with, the top down. So, like Bob, our AD, he just has a great feel. He does a great job running, the athletic department. And then Coach Mary, I mean, I came into a situation where, she's been a winner, so I got to just kind of come in and learn from her. And she does a great job of just leading, being a leader to our group, keeping the focus the same. Her practices are really well run, her in-game adjustments, things like that. Like, she's just a phenomenal coach. And then our players, it really, kudos to them, because all they do is show up and work every day. They're drama free. They just come in and work, and it's been really, really a blessing to be around. But I give all the credit to, Coach Mary and just our players just being ready every day.
Yeah. And you've gotten to work with different coaches over time, 7 years on Jim Boeheim's staff with Syracuse men's basketball. You're, obviously in Buffalo, had some time with Felicia Leggett-Jack, who's now at Syracuse, spent some time over at Lafayette, and here you are with Mary Grimes now. What is it about Mary that is unique as opposed to other coaches that you've worked under? What is it about her that you're kind of being a sponge to right now?
Yeah, well, I think for her, I kind of learned this, like, being at Buffalo too, was just her positivity coming in every single day. How we talk to the players, how we treat the players. When we say it's a family, it's a family. I think just things like that, like even when we had a tough non-conference slate, her positivity every single day just resonated with me and the players. And, she just kept going. It wasn't about winning or losing. It was just about ourselves. And I would say that was pretty similar to, my experiences like at Buffalo and things like that, just that everyday, work, and you can't let other things control how we're going to work and how our attitudes are going to be. So I think Coach Mary does like a really good job of just keeping the main thing. And, just even in game, like her play calls, her adjustments, her offense, like things like that, I've been able to pick up on. Just see, like, why did you call what you called in that situation? It's kind of like a chess match more than people would think about during a basketball game. So it's been fun to learn from her in those aspects too.
And for you, kind of finding your place right on this staff, because you were the new face to the staff, how would you describe just what your role has been and where you've maybe tried to key in or where Mary's had you focus?
Yeah, well, like I said, like I came into a situation where, Coach Mary's been coaching over 20 years. She's won in the past, she's very successful. So for me, it was just kind of adding on to whatever was needed. So, coming into the situation, I love to be in the gym with the players. Like, I like the skill development part of it. So, I feel like I took that on as like, what I really wanted to do was just, hey, everyday work outside of practice. And then just like the recruiting aspect of it, I wanted to help with. And then I would say in like regards to like scouting, things like that, I was able to take a couple scouts off of her plate. Normally head coaches aren't doing like full blown scouting reports, but she does, because, last year she did it and this year she still does scouting reports. So, I was hoping I was able to take a couple of those off her, like I said, off her plate, things like that. And then the everyday practice stuff. But, for me, it's just like bringing a positive, energy every day. Just helping anything that's needed. I just want to be there to help with and, just be like an addition and just keep going with what they already have built here.
You have raised a wonderful personality and a lot of energy in Miss Kaya Bean. And as she grows and literally looks like she went from being born to being a small grown adult, I feel like her experience, being around Mary's daughter and just being in the community, and obviously your parents are here, and just with the team. I know at Lafayette you had, help from a bunch of people on the team as well. What's it been like for Kaya and for you to see through her eyes just how she's experienced being here at LeMoyne?
Yeah, well, like you said, like Coach Mary, she has 2 children herself. So, it's nice that I get to see her be a head coach and being able to have all these responsibilities and be a mom herself. And she figures it out. And, Mia will travel with us and things like that. And then for Kaya, she did get to come to USC with us this year, which, she still talks about every day. Like, Mom, I want to go back on a plane, things like that. And then, being able to come to the games and things like that with our family, be around, her family. It's definitely been a blessing for her, and the players love Kaya, and they're awesome with her, as well. So I think it's been good for her, to be back home, and just be around her family, and get to see her mom, be a coach, and you can do both. You can be a coach and you can be a mom. So I think it's been good.
Well, and I think that what you just said is really powerful, and that we should look at this and pay attention more to this. Is that you can be a coach and be a parent. You can find a way to do this. And Mary's been doing it. You're doing it. There's a lot of people that are. How have you grown in that world of chasing your dreams and then going out and being an awesome mom and then still trying to find some time for yourself? Because it's a delicate balance. And knowing you over the years, Katie, I feel like you give to everybody else and then you give yourself like 7 minutes at the end of the day. So how have you tried to balance it all out?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not easy, the balancing part, because, some days, Kaya might be sick and, got to figure that out, and she's got to go to the doctor and, things like that. Or, we might travel and we might have road trips, and then it's like, all right, well, when I come back from the road trip, like, what am I doing to be a mom too? But then, I might have recruit calls to make, and I might have scouting reports to do and things like that. So I think it's just learning to balance time, when I get breaks, even if it's 30 minutes, like just take that mental break, and then just keep going. But then you also know as a coach, when you're in the midst of the season, like we are right now, it's like, playoff time. So it's watching film, it's up late. Coach Mary, she's up late every night watching film. She watches more film than anyone I know. So seeing her operate, it makes me want to work harder. It makes me want to give that much more, so I've definitely learned from her, just balancing some things and, just realizing like you can do it all, and it might take a couple more hours at night. You might be up till 1, 2 a.m. watching film, but, it takes what it takes, and you just got to kind of balance all of it.
You wanted to come home. You had the opportunity to. You're here at LeMoyne, and you're part of history. This is the first year that LeMoyne has ever been a Division I women's basketball program. It's the first year they've ever been in the NEC. It's the first year that they get to play in the D1 postseason. It's the first year that they get to play in the NEC tournament. Winning record overall, like I mentioned, 14-2 in the conference. I know that there's more work to be done, and I know that this team is just getting started. It's new life. It's the postseason. We're all 0-0 at this point. Have you reflected at all on the fact that God works in really awesome ways, that you didn't just come home? You came home to be a part of history that only one staff, one group of student athletes will experience.
Yeah, the job's not done though. And I think that's the thing, like, I'll probably reflect on this year once it's all done. But right now we're just kind of locked into, we have 3 more games. And, our goal from the beginning of the time, like people like Coach Mary from the beginning, when, I went through the interview process, stuff like that, she said, Katie, like, we're going to win right away. That's our goal. So people, like, we might have been picked last in conference, second to last, whatever. But what we had, our feeling in this, like, gym, in this place was, like, we could be special this year. Like, we have players, too. We have players coming back from last year's team that went far. So I think just the confidence that Coach Mary had from the beginning of the season until now is, like, a testament to her and her program. And it's awesome to see, all that kind of come together. And then, like I said, like, it's been just very enjoyable being around our team, our players, and it makes it a lot, our jobs better and easier when you have kids that want to be in the gym, kids that want to get extra shots up. I love to be in the gym too. So having kids that are every day texting me, Coach Katie, we shooting, we doing this, we doing that. It's just made a great experience, and, we'll see how the next 3 games play out. But like I said, our goal is to win a championship, and that's where we're at right now. And, our kids deserve a championship. The community deserves a championship. So we're going to do everything in our power to, finish out this season, and then we'll see what kind of that brings us. And, I'll probably reflect on it all when it's all said and done. But like right now, just our focus is, 1 game at a time starting on Monday.
what is it? I know we've talked about Mary Grimes, the head coach of the women's basketball team, a bunch here today. What is like one memory or one piece of advice or one specific thing that you really feel like in these last few months she gave you that's helped you?
Well, I think for her, it was more so like, hey, come in and learn. Like just come in, learn, be a sponge. And you never know like what that can do for you. So I think for me, my mindset's just been like learn as much as I can, be on board with whatever I can do. And then I think she's just instilled confidence in me, in my career and like who I am as a coach and a person. And I think when your head coach has like confidence in you and faith in you and shows that they have that in you, I think that goes a long way. For any, assistant coach. Like we all want our head coaches to have faith in us. And I think that's been helpful for me and just, every day just having confidence. So I think that's been, really cool to be around and just seeing how she operates and how she works. It's just been overall like just learning for me all year.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, it's been awesome. It's been awesome for me to see it, selfishly from my seat, to see so many awesome people on that sideline, you included, with Mary and the entire staff has been great. So, looking at this, speaking here with Katie Kolinski, LeMoyne Dolphins women's basketball assistant coach, heading into their first NEC tournament game, which is going to be this Monday, March 11th at 7 p.m. The Beeville band's coming in to the gym. They're loud. They're awesome. I think that they're really, really good when it comes to other teams shooting free throws as well. But they're the adopted band of LeMoyne. We've seen the biggest crowd for men's basketball happen just a couple days ago, and now we have a chance to have the biggest women's crowd coming up here on Monday, March 11th. Why should people come out? Why should they be a part of the atmosphere? You know it. I know it already. But what do you want to say to the community on why Monday, March 11th at 7 p.m. there's nowhere else they should be than at Ted Grant Court at LeMoyne College?
I mean, we need everybody. We need everyone's support, especially the community. We're as much a part of the community as anyone else. And, we love the community here. And I think it's just big for us to have the support. I think our players deserve the support, and especially women. The women's game is growing so much. So I think that, it's definitely the place to be on Monday.
Let's get to the women's game for a second here. You know that I love Caitlin Clark. And I watched her last year. I know this year, I should have gotten her autographs, an autograph card or something last year, I guess. I can't find anything for under $300, and I think her most expensive card is $76,000. Congratulations to her. I have some stuff here in the studio that I was able to either trade for or pull. So I do have some of the Bowmans, and then I do have a refractor insert of her from Bowman U as well. But the Caitlin Clark factor, she's now in Division I men's and women's basketball, the top scorer ever. She passed Pistol Pete, and most recently here, and doing what she's done and being where she is, she's on pace to continue to go and continue to grow. And it's been amazing to see what she's been able to do for the women's game. There's so many players over time, but you and I haven't spoken on air about Caitlin Clark, so I want to take a minute or two with that. What does she do for you, for the women's game in general? I mean, we're looking at, literally in 2024, the new leader in Division I men's and women's basketball all-time career scoring, and she's still scoring. Your thoughts?
I mean, I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan. I love that, people are showing up for her. I love that games are sold out for her and things like that. But, I think there's a lot of, phenomenal players in women's basketball, and I think we can show up for, everybody. I think, the women's game is growing, and, she's a testament of that. But, there's a lot of people that were before her that is a testament for where the women's game is as well. So I think she's just another great player that has really added to our game, and hopefully that'll keep, people showing up. I think, obviously she's getting people in the seats, but there's also other great players in the country, from like Angel Reese at LSU and, people like that. There's a lot of great freshmen in the country. So I think, she's definitely a game changer. But I think in general, I think people should be showing up for women. So kudos to her. I think, like I said, I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan, but I think there's a lot of phenomenal players that our game has.
Well, in the women's game, what was awesome yesterday is I'm going about my night and doing stuff and turn the TV on and the ACC tournament's on for women. And I'm getting to watch and listen and see it in front of me, not see the men's tournament and then hear about the women's tournament or see the women's championship, but don't see the beginning of this. The exposure for women's basketball, Katie, you and I have talked for years about how important the WNBA is, how important overseas, but any opportunity to play basketball for women professionally after the fact, as well as exposure of making sure that the games are going to be televised and that we can see them. I feel that, and we've talked about this before, cyclical, right? When they say women's basketball isn't important, nobody wants to watch it, so we're not going to put it on TV, so then it doesn't have sponsors, so then they don't make money, and then there's this belief that it's not good because it's not on TV, so now people don't want to spend money, so it keeps it down. If you have this mentality of don't put it on TV, people don't want to watch it, and they don't want to pay for it, then people don't watch it because they can't watch it, and they don't pay for it because they're told that it's not that good, and it keeps everything down. We've seen a shift, and now women's basketball is on TV in the regular season. They're on TV in the conference tournament, and we actually get to watch the entire NCAA tournament when it happens. Just your thoughts on the evolution over these last couple of years. And last year, to me, was amazing. It was electric. It was awesome. It wasn't one team. It wasn't one player. There was so many different things to be excited about. And it was more exciting down the stretch than the men's championship because the women's one was more contested toward the end. So just what you can say about the exposure of where we are with women's basketball and the fact that you and I can actually go and watch a game. We can watch it at home. We can watch it, at a bar or restaurant. We don't have to look in the newspaper. We don't have to check the box scores, and we don't have to buy some more expensive package. We can literally just turn on television and see the games.
Yeah, I mean, if you provide it, people will show up. Like some of the Caitlin Clark games have had more viewers than I think I saw like NHL hockey. And I think it's exciting. I think people used to have the narrative oh, well, women don't dunk and this and that, but the game without dunking, yes, dunking is cool or whatever, but women's game is so from having 4 quarters to being able to advance the ball. There's so much coaching that goes into it, and the skill level of all the players is so high. And I think that it's just awesome that they're finally recognizing it, finally putting it on TV. Even I go to our games, we have young girls at our game and they want autographs after the game and things like that. And I think having people who bring their young children to games, they get to have people to look up to. They get to have something oh, I want to be like her. I want to be like Caitlin. I want to be like Daisha Fair. I want to be like LaToya Baker. And I think it's important for young girls to just have these role models. And when I was growing up, my role model was Lisa Leslie. Everyone asks who's your favorite player. I'm gonna go to a women's. I'm gonna talk about Lisa Leslie. I'm gonna talk about Candace Parker. My youngest memories are watching North Carolina women's on the TV. When they were always up there and really good. And I think it's just important. I think it's important I have a daughter. She gets to see it. She gets to be around it. I just can't fathom all these people who have young daughters that don't want to have them have people they can look up to. If you're a father that's saying, oh, no one should be watching that, and you have a young girl, what are you teaching her for the rest of her life? Yeah. That's not teaching her. That's just saying you're not important, and then when they get older and they're going to be on this stage, you're going to want people to show up for them. So I think it's just being mindful when we talk to young girls and just being able to empower them.
Yeah, to me it's crazy. I mean, I was watching Welcome to Wrexham with with that awesome show on Hulu and Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney that bought the team, and then they were talking about, hey, there's a women's team. And so they have a women's team and a men's team at Wrexham, and they both have to win in order to move up to the next league. But what they don't tell you about the women's team is that they're not paid, and they're trying to just get paid by moving up. They also don't tell you that they don't play in the Wrexham Stadium. They don't play at the Racehorse. And so I'm watching this, and we're in the 2020s. I think this was 2022 that they were filming, or 2023. I think it was 2022. But you're watching this women's team, and their field's not the same as the men's field. Their stadium is not a stadium. It's just a park. There's few hundred people there, not thousands of people there. There's not necessarily a ton of people tailgating and going into it. They're not sending buses over to these games. Yet the women at the time that I was watching it were undefeated. And they won their half of the league, and now they had to face the other team. I'm blown away because I don't get it, Katie. I don't understand this. Like, we have two teams. The men get all of these facilities, and when we get more money, we're going to build up the men's facility. The women are going to play on a box of scraps, and we're just going to hope that, you know, they can just deal with it and not complain about it. They both prepare. They both watch film. They both scheme. They both work out. They both lift. They both run. And yet one's playing in a park. One's playing in a stadium. One has money behind them. One barely has money to wash the jerseys. I don't understand why women's athletics had this. And at one point, women were banned from playing soccer. And they were talking about that in Wrexham history, that they said that it wasn't safe for women to play soccer. I don't get it, because it's never been a part of my career. But we're living here in 2024. It was wrong in 1984. It was wrong in 1954. Why are we still dealing with trying to get women exposure, trying to get women jerseys, trying to get women the proper equipment, trying to get women the proper fields and courts? LeMoyne, everybody plays on the same court. You go to your locker rooms. I don't get why we're still trying to get women up to where the men's teams are, where we're still trying to ramp it up. I guess I don't understand.
Yeah, I think though we have come a long way, you know, even in the last like 4 years, and we still have a long way to go. Even from like the NCAA tournament, the women having the same stuff that the men do, you know, the weight rooms, all those photos. But now that you have the day of social media, I think you're going to make changes when you see things on social media that, you know, the men are getting this, women are getting that, from the clothes you get, things like that. So, you know, I think we are making progress. I do think we have a farther way to go, but I do think, like, I do recognize that there are changes being made, and, you know, I think, like I said, women's basketball is very important. So,
final note, as we step forward here, personally, what about this run with LeMoyne has meant the most to you on the court, off the court, in the world of Katie Kolinski? What has this chapter been like for you so far?
You know, like, I'm from Syracuse, you know, so I think that's been the most important thing. It's just the community part of it. You know, everyone has always been very supportive of me here in Syracuse, and the fact LeMoyne gave me an opportunity, and Coach Mary gave me an opportunity to come back home, you know, I do not take that for granted. I'm very forever thankful for Coach Mary and LeMoyne and the athletic department, and I think just doing it at home is, like, amazing. I think that's most thing, because I love Syracuse. I love the community. I love everything about Syracuse. Like, I'm like Jim Boeheim, where, you know, I could live here 12 months out of the year and be happy, you know, even when it's snowing, things like that. I love the snow. So I think just being back here, you know, this is home for me. I love it here, and I think that's been the best part about it.
Yeah, you know, and it's great to have you back home. And I know so many people love the fact that it's there, and they come and they see you and they support you as well. So it's good to have you back home, and it's awesome that we talked about this years ago. And what I text you, I said, keep on it, pray to God, keep believing, you're going to be where you're supposed to be. And it's really awesome that you get to be on this run with Mary and LeMoyne and all of these wonderful student athletes, and Bob Beretta and Dr. Linda Lemira and everybody involved. So Monday, I know for the team, can't come soon enough. But as always, Katie, I appreciate it. And, you know, it's good to have good people in the community that love the community. And like you said, 12 months out of the year you can be here. And I fully, wholeheartedly endorse that statement as well. So thanks for everything that you're doing on your end. And thanks for giving us another person to cheer for.
Yeah, no, I appreciate, you, obviously, Dan, the community, and, I'm excited for what's to come. Hope everyone shows up at 7 o'clock on Monday and, give us a good home crowd for sure.
Yeah, listen, it needs to be bumping in there. That's all I know. And what I loved is that when they announced that the women's game was going to be Monday, obviously I know that, like the team was there, well represented, and Mary stood up and they played the music and everything, and seeing her in the corner just like revved up for it. I don't know how people can't get energized when they see Mary's reaction to the game that's coming up. So we'll see you all on Monday, March 11th at 7 o'clock. Katie, I'll see you then.
All right, Dan. Thank you.
All right, take care. That coming from Katie Kolinski one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Happy that we stayed a little bit longer to make sure that we got Katie on the broadcast today as promised, because in the world of athletics, sometimes things come up and they have to change things around in different meetings and whatnot. So I'm happy that we were able to set it up. And, to me, keeping your word is really important. And I know that sometimes people's schedules change, but Katie, awesome at making it work, and I appreciate the fact that we got to have her on the show today. So with that being said, we got a great weekend coming up. You got high school state playoffs going on at the SRC Arena this weekend, including the Liverpool Warriors going up at noon Eastern time this Saturday, March 9th. We have Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball quarterfinals of the America East tournament happening tonight at 6 p.m. So go to bubearcats.com to find out how you can watch and listen. So that's going on with Beth Ann Shapiro-Ord and her team of the Binghamton Bearcats on the road at Bryant. Tomorrow, Saturday, March 9th, like I said, the Liverpool Warriors are up against Colony at noon. For girls basketball. You also have going on for tomorrow, Saturday, March 9th at 3 p.m., you have the Binghamton Bearcats men's basketball team led by Lavelle Sanders on the road at New Hampshire in the quarterfinals of the America East tournament. So there's something to be excited about there. Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse is going to be in the USCAA men's and women's Division I national tournaments. They're going to be competing over the weekend here. A lot of great stuff coming up with that, which I'm extremely excited about. All of this, and then, like we talked about, the women for LeMoyne on Monday, March 11th. They're going to be at home at 7 o'clock. We look forward to seeing you there. They're going to be facing Stonehill, who ironically is another reclassified team that's a year ahead of Syracuse. So Stonehill coming into town. Stonehill reclassified out of the NE10 Division II, same as LeMoyne, but they did it a year earlier. So they are a year ahead as far as being in Division I, and LeMoyne's going to be hosting them. The 7-seed Stonehill comes to the 2-seed LeMoyne, who is 14-2 in their first season in Division I and first season in the NEC, and that game is going to be played Monday, March 11th at 7 p.m. at Ted Grant Court here in Syracuse, New York, on LeMoyne's campus, and I look forward to all of you being there. I will be in attendance, and I cannot wait. The men's game was incredible, and I look forward to the women's game being just as amazing for LeMoyne College. And so we look forward to seeing you there. Another note to make here is that the men, as they have advanced, they will play this Saturday, March 9th at noon Eastern time against Merrimack on the road in North Andover, Massachusetts in the semifinals of the NEC tournament. So a lot of things happening. Friday, March 8th, Saturday, March 9th, Sunday, March 10th. We know Bryan and Stratton Syracuse is going to be tipping things off. Monday, March 11th, we have LeMoyne women's basketball. So many great things going on, and I'm ecstatic. I'm so excited for all of this, and I do want to make a note, as I talked about Liverpool girls basketball, which we have covered for many years and do our shows at Avicoli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, monthly with the Liverpool Warriors, and we have had Liverpool boys and girls basketball for many, many years at Avicoli's, which I appreciate tremendously. The boys basketball team is also going to be doing their thing. They're playing on Saturday, March 9th, and they'll be going up against Green Tech at 3:10 p.m. Eastern Time, as they are a three-peat section champion winner. Section 3 Class AA for 2 years prior, and now that we have AAA, they won AAA. So Ryan Blackwell has now led the Liverpool boys basketball team to three straight Section 3 titles, Class AA, now Class AAA, as they just added Class AAA for this year. So awesome stuff going on. And then the game against Green Tech is going to be happening here, is going to be happening on the road at Hudson Valley Community College for the Liverpool Warriors. So they have that game going on March 9th at 3:10. So like I said, a lot of stuff between today through Monday when it comes to men's and women's basketball, girls and boys basketball as well, all affecting the central and upstate New York community, and I look forward to you supporting them all. The Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Thank you to Carvel. To Chick-fil-A, Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, and Jimmer Sikowski, our fearless leader and one of my brothers. Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, more than just a chicken sandwich. Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. And many thanks to Mike Wheeler joining us from Liverpool Girls Basketball, their head coach. He's been there 2 seasons, and they've been sectional champs both of those seasons, and they've gone to the state playoffs both of those seasons. And last year they won a game in the state playoffs. Now they're looking to win tomorrow and move forward and win again. So looking forward to what's to come with the states for Liverpool girls and boys basketball, as well as West Genesee and everybody involved. Big time shout out to Katie Kolinski and the LeMoyne College Dolphins women's basketball team. And, of course, many thanks to our newest Commissioner Corner guest who returned to the show, MAC Commissioner, Mid-American Conference Commissioner, Dr. John Steichbrecher, who gave us an inside look at the world of athletics in the MAC and beyond. With that being said, thank you for being with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, as well as on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. And, of course, many thanks to the wonderful places that carry our archives as well: Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. You can literally trip and find Wake Up Call. That's how easy it is, and that is because God is great. Make sure you search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on any one of these channels. And, of course, a very special thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York: Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, GG Cards and Breaks, PB&J's Lunchbox, Avicoli's, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, and we are proud to be the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your LeMoyne College Dolphins. It's fins up every single month on Wake Up Call. Under promise, over deliver with our AD and DT and Dolphin Dive specials, like we just had here today, diving into a conversation with Katie Kolinski, assistant coach under Mary Grimes with the LeMoyne College women's basketball team. You can find our Dolphin Time every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, first and third Wednesday of each month, with AD and DT, featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, with exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, going behind the scenes of LeMoyne College and the athletic department. Second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, you'll find new episodes of the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. Those Dolphin Dives coming to you every single month. And you can find all of our content with LeMoyne by subscribing to our YouTube channel on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Hit the notification bell. Check out the LeMoyne playlist. And, of course, you can find the Dolphins on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. And, as always, fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find the Bobcat Buzz every single month on Wake Up Call, including today as we send off the women's and men's basketball teams to the USCAA National Tournament with an opportunity at a national championship for both teams in Division I of the USCAA. Big time thanks to all of the coaches and student athletes and administration at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. You will find them throughout the year in our specials that air monthly called the Bobcat Buzz. Subscribe to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, hit the notification bell, and find the BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Bobcats on the homepage of wakeupcalldt.com and underneath the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. The Bobcats, for more information, are on syracuse.bscbobcats.com. And as always, go Bobcats. The Binghamton Bearcats are the newest exclusive multimedia marketing partners of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Binghamton University coming to you every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, a.k.a. Bearcat Time. And the Bearcats are with us monthly with Moments with Marshall, featuring Gene Marshall, the athletics director at Binghamton University, giving us an inside look at what's going on at the university and the athletic department. The Bearcat Break Room, which also airs Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time throughout each month, gives us the opportunity to speak with student athletes, coaches, and administration all throughout the year from the many programs at Binghamton University. We have just officially started this week with all of this, and I am honored and privileged to have the Bearcats with us in our Wake Up Call family. The Southern Tier well represented by Binghamton University. You can find them on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And of course, you can find the Binghamton playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for tuning into the show. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Shout out to Mod Paz, the snack capital, baby. Go to 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, and get your taste buds something to cheer about. I'll see you over the weekend. Hopefully it's some awesome events and good stuff. Over the next few days, we're going to have college basketball and high school basketball in the community that you should not be missing a moment of. Look forward to seeing you out there. God bless you all. No stress, and do your best. We'll talk soon. This is Wake Up Call, and God